10.5. Solve quadratic equations by completing the square. In this lesson, we'll look at how to solve quadratic equations by completing the square. Completing the square is useful when an equation cannot be factored using integers. So let's say you have the following quadratic equation and you try to factor it using the factoring method and you were not able to do so. You may try this method of completing the square to find the solutions. First, we're going to write an equation with the constant isolated on the right side. So you take your quadratic equation and you move the constant over to the right side. Then you're going to divide each side of the equation by a, which is the coefficient that comes in front of the x squared. So bring that a and divide everything by. Next, we're going to multiply our b, which is the coefficient of x right here. We're going to take that, multiply it by 1/2, and then we're going to square that. That fraction we're going to add to each side of the equation, like so and like so. Then we're going to go ahead and factor the left side of the equation, because now we have a trinomial over there that we can factor. And the result should be x plus r squared, where r is a constant. So we should have a binomial being squared as the result of factoring this. Then we're going to go ahead and take the square root of each side, and then we'll be able to solve for x. Okay, let's go ahead and put this into practice then. Here we have our quadratic trinomial. Remember, first step, we're going to isolate that constant. That leaves us with 3x squared minus 7x equals -2. Then we're going to divide everything by that a, which is the coefficient in front of the x squared. And that gives us x squared minus 7 over 3x equals -2/3. Now I'm leaving space because I know I'm going to have to add something in there. Now I need to take my b term, which is now -7/3. I'm going to multiply it by 1/2, so I've got -7/3 times 1/2, which gives me -7/6, and I'm going to square that, which gives me 49/36, and I'm going to add that to both sides. Plus 49/36 plus 49/36. Now this side over here I can go ahead and simplify, right? So let's see, if I multiply by 12 and by 12, I've got -24/36 plus 49/36, leaving me with 25/36, right? So I've got x squared minus 7/3 x plus 49/36 as my new trinomial equals 25/36. Now for your factoring, if you just kind of think for a minute, it's not as hard as it looks. You're thinking, oh, these fractions look terrible. But we know that we squared 7/6 to get this fraction. So that's likely going to be part of this factored term, part of this binomial, right? So if we just think about it for a minute, I need to end up over here with -7/3. Well, remember we divided 7/3 by 2 to get -7/6. So if you take -7/6 two times, you're going to get your -7/3, right? So this is really a lot easier than it looks. We know that it's going to have to be x minus 7/6 squared equals 25/36. Okay, next we're going to square root both sides. Square root here, and that is going to lead us to x minus 7/6 equals 5/6. But because we took the square root of 25/36, remember that there's always a positive and a negative square. So that could be a positive or a negative 5/6. So we need to consider both of the options. So let's go ahead and solve for x then. We've got x minus 7/6 equals positive 5/6, and x minus 7/6 equals -5/6. We solve these both for x. This one leads us to x equals 2 plus 7/6, yep, plus 7/6. This one's going to lead us to -1/3. So now we have two solutions for x in our solution set. And to practice this, go ahead and try these numbers 1 to 3.